We came from Saudi Arabia just for you guys. You know why? Because you're so special. You're good students. Yeah! Look how many people are visiting you guys.
And it's a special lunch today?
Have a pizza.
Look at that. And what is this?
I finished my pizza.
But what's
Cookie.
it?
Valentine's
It is
card.
a special cookie. Look at the
Oh,
little
for
hearts.
Valentine's.
Isn't that beautiful? Are you going to eat it?
So,
Oh, you're
I already,
eating it already.
I already finished my
Well, you're Mr. Speedy.
yeah, we're gonna talk about you back home in our news media.
Yes.
We're gonna say how great you are, how diligent students you are. You eat healthy, you study. You're gonna be famous, guys.
Do you know where they're from, all these visitors? Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
What's it like in Saudi Arabia? Lots of snow? No.
No? So we said you're gonna be rich. Why are you gonna be rich?
We're gonna be on TV.
Oh, on TV, yes, yes. Michael. Okay, say bye. Say bye to Saudi Arabia. Bye.
Bye.
Who can speak Arabic here? No one speak Arabic?
I know some words.
Yeah, say it. Say it. كيف حالك?
Okay.
Huh?
Forgot them.
Really?
السلام عليكم.
وعليكم السلام ما شاء الله.
Move words around, and it's very, very good for them. So here's an example. For instance, at the beginning of the school year, we got into the word family of at.
Make a word with at. At. To match the picture. Rat.
And so as you can see, right, so it's important of having visuals and associating the word with the picture so they can actually know that the sound is right? And then they can actually bring and
At.
they create it,
Rat.
right? So it's very, it's a very powerful tool for ESL students, especially at this age group. And so we also have other programs with math, and then we also take the kids down to the computer lab to do different other programs that we're doing with Mrs. Sand. Right now we are working on a book about the experiences of newcomers to Canada. And if you want to talk a little bit about that.
Okay, so what's happening? My Arabic is not that good, it's Swedish Arabic, okay? So we are making a book about the new kids coming to Canada. And they're talking about how they feel, you know what? Experiences, tajirba, experiences in Canada. So we're making a book. It's called a digital book. We're using the computer to do that book. And you will see some example from Mr. Guman. In the past, we made many, many books. So over here, so every year we make one book with all our students about their experiences.
السلام عليكم.
عليكم السلام.
كيف حالكم؟
أنا مبسوط الحمد لله.
الحمد لله. أنا اسمي عبد السلام.
أنا اسمي ياسمين حسان.
Yasmin Hassan. I came from Saudi Arabia with a cohort of Saudi teachers to visit your school. So where are we now? Where are
We
we?
are at Crescent Town School.
Crescent Town School
And this is in
Toronto, in
Ontario.
Canada. In Canada.
Okay, and we have like kindergarten to grades 4.
Okay. So I believe that you have been to Saudi Arabia, right?
Yeah, أنا في سعودية في 20 سنة.
20
في
سنة.
ملاذ.
في الملاذ.
And
في
I was a
الرياض.
teacher
Yeah.
at Prince Mishal School.
King
It's a Prince Mishal.
مشعل School in the
Malaz.
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 What did you teach?
I taught English and all the subjects.
All the subjects.
It was like for students coming to Canada, like coming to Saudi Arabia, from Lebanon, from Syria, from other parts of the world.
So is it like, did you teach only
I
males or
No,
females?
it was a co-ed school, right? So I taught, it was a mixed class.
Mixed class.
It was international school, right?
International
They were
school.
everything were together. So it was like, okay.
So did you teach Saudi curriculum or
No, it
international?
was international.
International curriculum.
Mostly like, math, language, social studies and science.
And the language of instruction, I believe, was English.
Because all the, the people coming to Canada, like to Saudi Arabia for work, their children were my students.
So 20 years in Saudi Arabia. Did you think about coming here ever during that
Because
time?
what happened, I got 3 sons, and then when they had to go to university, at that time I wanted to send them away, so I wanted to come with them.
So when did you apply for the citizenship or to
That
migrate?
was in '95. It was almost in Canada, like in 23 years now.
You have been here just
Yes.
3 years.
No, 23.
23.
I came to Canada from Saudi Arabia in '95. In
95, okay,
1995.
1995.
Yeah, 95.
So you spent 20 years in Saudi Arabia.
Or maybe
When did you decide during these 20 years to come to Canada?
Okay, so when my son, my oldest son Yusuf, he had to apply for university. So
After
I
how
had
many
to-
years in Saudi
So
Arabia?
my son were like, like where in,
In Saudi Arabia.
like for me, I lived there for 13 years. After 13 years, we decided to come to Canada.
Okay, after
my
13
husband
years.
was 20 years there. Okay.
So then you considered after 13 years in Saudi Arabia, then you considered of coming here
Yeah,
with
because
the whole family.
Yeah, because the
Okay.
main thing was my children education.
Okay.
I didn't want to send
believe-
them to USA or somewhere without the family.
Yes.
That's why I came to Canada.
But did you like it over there in Saudi Arabia?
I love the country because we go to Makkah, Medina,
MashaAllah.
and this was my first experience as a teacher, because that's why I decided to become a teacher in Canada. If I didn't have the experience in Saudi Arabia, I wouldn't be a teacher in Canada now.
I see, I see. I
Okay,
see.
so that was a very good experience, and this Canada is a great country because we are very happy because you see people from all over the world, they come here, we all respect it, and I teach my students also, like they come, they speak.
So, do you know when you sort of interrupt
Yeah, sorry.
your students
Yeah.
back home? What
Yeah.
happened to them when they finished their
Back home means
Yeah.
like which
in
student?
Saudi Arabia? You taught for 20 years.
Yeah, yeah.
Have you been in touch with your students?
No, I didn't know. I was not
really?
in touch. No.
I mean, I'm sure they have the same experience with
same
your.
experience. Yeah.
Yeah, they came to Canada, or
yeah,
America
yeah.
or somewhere.
But at that time we didn't have all this technology. Like right now, all my students they have emails. I have virtual Google Classroom. It's very easy to get in touch with the parents and everybody. But at that time, we didn't have that kind of media. So it was very hard to It was very hard to get in touch with the parents because you don't exchange email, right? But now it's so easy. The whole world is become like a global village now.
MashaAllah,
So it's so
mashallah.
easy to
So when
Yeah.
if let's say I'm gonna meet your 2 sons accidentally, like,
yeah.
and if I ask them where are you from, would they say Saudi Arabia or Pakistan?
Oh,
Honestly.
I'm from Bangladesh, right?
Would they say Bangladesh or Saudi
No,
Arabia?
I think they will say I'm Bangladeshi and also they will say Canadian.
Canadian.
So I would say first I would
But
say.
would they say I'm from Saudi Arabia but I moved here? Or?
So my youngest son, mashallah, he's Khalid.
Yeah.
He is taking a course in Al Azhar University because
Al-Azhar.
because he's very
mashallah.
interested in Arabic, right?
Mashallah,
He was born in Saudi Arabia, so he got very interested. So all my sons they can read Arabic.
MashaAllah.
Okay.
Read or speak.
You speak Arabic. Yes.
Mashallah.
My youngest son, he speaks very fluently because his birth is born in Saudi Arabia. He's very proud of that. So he wants to go to study like to.
Mashallah,
So
mashallah.
alhamdulillah, yes.
Wallah, it's a pleasure to meet you guys.
Alhamdulillah.
I know there are a lot of people in Canada.
Yeah.
Either they were born in Saudi Arabia or they have been to Saudi Arabia for work or
Right,
to
yeah,
studies. And some of them, like who were born in Saudi Arabia, they feel that if I ask him, I'm from Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
But sadly, they couldn't have the chance to stay
Yeah.
and they found their future here. I'm very glad that you're still making, a
and
living and
living,
your
yes.
like prosperity you reach,
Yeah.
status
And
of
that's why I
rest.
make connection with my students because they all come from Syria, from Bangladesh and Canada, and I always focus on the first language. And I tell them, should be proud of who you are.
Yes.
I'm a Canadian, but I'm also from Bangladesh, and so don't forget your roots.
Yes.
That you should be
Yes.
proud of who
Your
you are.
identity, yeah.
Your
Yeah.
identity.
Yeah. So thank you very much,
Thank you very much.
for your time.
no, thank
All the
you.
best. I'm glad that
Uh,
you managed to have, your
Alhamdulillah.
experience back home in
Yes.
Saudi Arabia paid off at the end.
yes.
And then you're a teacher here. I hope all the best to your children.
Okay.
Any message you're gonna say to the Saudi teachers back home? Any final
Okay,
message?
the thing is that when I came to Canada, I was 40 at that time. I thought I was too old, but I think what I said, if you like something to do, your passion, because I miss my teaching in Saudi Arabia. Even I was like 40 years old, I'm 60 now. Okay, I'm proud to say that. I don't know how I made, but you should go for it. And my job as a teacher, I don't think it's a job. It's my passion.
A passion.
Because
okay.
every year I have new batch of students, and I think this is the one year I have to make a difference in their life. Because when they leave me, they're not going to remember what math I taught them, what language. They'll remember how they were treated.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
And they should be proud of who they are. That's the most important thing.
Thank you very much.
So be passionate, go for it.
Thank
if you
you.
want to love teaching, okay?
جزاك الله خير.
Okay.
جزاك السلام
Okay.
عليكم.
Alaikum
مع السلامة.
salam. Shukran.
Class that you were just in, outside, you would have seen a display for structures around the world. So just as you heard in the library too, we've tried to invest in books from around the world, right? The teachers are working really hard to make learning like a global experience. Now, the teacher who works in this room, she's an art specialist, so she's had a lot of training in the arts. So she actually came with an idea 2 years ago. She said, Mr. Guman, can I provide art support to the students and to the staff? Now, a lot of the other teachers, they also enjoy doing art. A lot of the teachers in this school have art background. And my only request to her is, I said, I'm fine with you doing this, but I need you to make sure that the art is from a global perspective, that it's beyond a European, perspective, or what we traditionally would have seen in a Western curriculum, right? So she's really tried as well, if you see from the books, the displays, to show and learn with the kids about art that's from Africa, that's from Asia, that's from Europe, that's from all over the world. And also, some of you were asking about the indigenous perspectives. Well, who are the indigenous artists that were, pioneers in Canada? So I give her a lot of credit because it's been a big learning for her, but she's committed to that learning. So we hope you take that from these classrooms, is that, they say Toronto is a global city, right? They say Toronto is diverse. Well, how are we teaching our kids that, like, diverse teaching styles, right? We're actually giving them global perspectives. It's not easy to do, right? Because most of the places we buy our books from and posters and materials, they don't sell materials from all over the world. So what do? We have to sometimes create these things ourselves. That's why the ESL teacher creates her own books with them.
And it's structures, living dwellings from all over the world. That's beautiful. Fabulous, guys. Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you
Enjoy
so
the
much.
rest of your day.
Thank you.
If you have a problem, because I've already sent it, I would like to know
So, Uncle Antonio, you have been with Saudis for the last 8 years.
8 years. I
As a
opened the
homestay.
house on 2010.
2010.